Coming up on Full Sail Live, recap special is back. Who's in, who's out, and who may be done forever. Plus,
Divisional round is here heading into the weekend. We have exactly what and who you should be looking out for. All that and more on Full Sail Live starting right now.
welcome into Full Sail Live. I'm your host, Austin Parr, alongside my co-host, George Gilmore. Wildcard weekend was nothing short of wild, George. But what was your take on this weekend's playoffs?
Well, we had a little bit of everything from a quarterback playing his last game to a team winning their first playoff game in 31 years. We also had blowouts. And speaking of blowouts, the last time these two teams met, it was a close ball game. 28-22 Tampa. This time the Bucs had no mercy and had their ways with the Eagles defense. It was a blowout, 31-15. But Bucs lose Tristan Wirfs to an ankle injury that can spell trouble for Brady in the next round. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys had to deliver a win, but the Niners had other ideas. Deebo Samuels had his way with the Cowboys defense. The Niners rushed for close to 185 yards. Deebo Samuels finished with 10 carries for 72 yards and 1 touchdown. Round 3, Rams and Cardinals. The Rams were just too much for Murray in the offense. It was never close. But Matthew Stafford got his first playoff win of his career. He finished with 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 rushing, pushing the Rams into the next round. For the Rams to keep moving on, Stafford knows it takes a team effort.
I'm just excited for our team to get the win. Obviously, what a team effort. Our defense played outstanding tonight. Special teams basically set up a score with Johnny pinning them down there, did a great job on field goals. And, we were good enough on offense to score some points and come away with the win.
From 2 quarterbacks making their postseason debuts, 1 quarterback possibly playing his last game ever, to a Hall of Fame coach trying to outlast a rising star, the AFC did not disappoint in Wild Card weekend. Bills Patriots from Buffalo. 0 degrees at game time, but that did not affect Josh Allen. Allen threw for over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. Josh is now the 7th quarterback since 1950 to throw 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in a playoff game. Bills win in a blowout, 47-17. Bengals and Raiders from Cincy. Joe Burrow and Derek Carr making their postseason debuts. This day, though, was all Burrow. Joe Cool threw for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, but his efficiency is what separated the Bengals in the end. Burrow had a 70% completion percentage in this game, leading Cincy to a victory in a tight one. Chiefs and Steelers from Kansas City. The Chiefs started slow, but led by Patrick Mahomes, this game was blown wide open in the second quarter. Mahomes threw for over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, joining Ben Roethlisberger as the only players to do so in a playoff game in the Super Bowl era. Could this be the end of an era in Pittsburgh?
God has blessed me with an ability to throw a football and has blessed me to play in the greatest city in Pittsburgh with the greatest fans and the greatest football team and players, and it has just been truly a blessing, and I'm so thankful to him for the opportunity that he's given me.
Still to come on Full Sail Live.
Divisional rounds are set. Do you know what or who to look out for?
Keep it right here. Intriguing matchups is next. Welcome back into Full Sail Live. The divisional round is finally upon us, George. What are you specifically looking out for this weekend?
Well, with so many games this weekend, these are my top 4 intriguing matchups to look out for. It's divisional time, and at number 4, it's Bengals versus Titans. The King has returned, and he's back to lead his Titans. Stopping Henry won't be easy, but in 2021, the Bengals were 13th in yards per carry at 4.2. They will have a tall task stopping the King. Number 3, Deebo Samuels versus that Green Bay defense. The last time they met, it was in the NFC Championship game in 2019. The Niners blew out Rodgers in the pack and rushed for 285 yards on 42 carries. With Tristan Wirfs hobbled, the Bucs have their hands full against the Rams defense, which can cause problems with that front 4. Aaron Donald will be a huge factor. Will he dethrone Brady and move on to the NFC title game this year? My number 1, Mahomes versus Allen. Can this be Manning versus Brady 2.0? This is the rematch of earlier this year when the Bills blew out Mahomes. This is the 4th meeting in 2 seasons, and it looks like we'll be seeing them for a long time, but we'll find out who comes out on top.
That's a solid list, George, but at my number 4, I have the Rams defensive line versus the Buccaneers offensive line. Tristan Wirfs is Tampa's number 1 rated lineman and will miss this game. If Aaron Donald and Von Miller bring the pressure early, Brady could be in for a long day. Yes, the King is back, but that isn't where I'm going with number 3. Joe Burrow was sacked a league-leading 55 times this season, while the Titans' defensive line is heating up with 5 sacks in the last 2 games. Keep an eye out for how many times Burrow goes down. Tough decision, but number 2 is Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen. 2 quarterbacks coming in as hot as they can be, with each throwing over 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in the first round. Keep an eye out for a late-game mistake by one of these two that could end their season. My number 1 intriguing matchup is Davante Adams versus Deebo Samuel. The Packers are 7-0 when Davante has over 100 yards, while the Niners' Deebo Samuel broke an NFL record for rushing touchdowns. Look for one of these two to make a big play to seal the game. Don't forget to tune in to next week's show.
A very special Final Four edition at Full Sail Live will make its debut.
For my co-host, George Gilmore, I'm Austin Parr. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.